I just want to talk a little bit about image size. We mentioned in previous videos that this Photoshop document is, if I go to image size, I can look and see that's 5,760 pixels wide by 3,840 pixels tall. That's fine. But what if I want to make it smaller? I do change that in image size. Okay, I would have to make sure that resample is checked. Okay, because if I change it without doing resample, it really doesn't actually change the pixel size. It just changes the inches at which it will print. Okay, so I make sure resample is checked, and I make sure that width and height are linked by this little link, which they should be by default. And then I'll change this to pixels here. Okay, and maybe I want it to be 2400. That's roughly half the size. Well, technically it's 1/4, but we don't need to go into that now. 2400 pixels wide. I hit OK. My whole document has been reduced in size, my whole Photoshop file. Sometimes you need to do that because you just can't work at those really high resolutions, and maybe you need a smaller file size, or maybe it's too slow on your computer and you just need it to be smaller, and 2400 pixels is certainly big enough. So that's how you do that. Changing image size is not, you cannot undo that without, you can undo it in the history, but you can't do it, you can't like make it big again without compromising the image. So understand that it's easy to go smaller, but you can't really make it bigger without sort of compromising your image a little bit. You can do it to a certain extent, but it's best not to use image size to make your image bigger. One other thing to think about is your canvas size, which is separate than your image size. Our canvas size right now, go to image canvas size, is 10 pixels by 6.6, I'm sorry, 10 inches by 6.667 inches. You change that to pixels, and you can see that there. Maybe I don't want it to be as wide. I'm going to change it to pixels by changing this little thing here. Change it to pixels from inches. I want it to be 4,800 pixels wide, and these are not linked. Okay, I hit that. That will actually make my canvas smaller. A new canvas size is smaller than the current canvas size. Some clipping will occur. Yes, I understand. I'm going to proceed. See, now it's not as wide. I can move this image. Maybe I want to use less of this image. I want to move this over. That's maybe one reason for changing the canvas size. I could also make it narrower. I can make it look even wider. Change that to 2000. See? Now it's like widescreen. Stand him right there. So that's canvas size, which is different than image size. That is easier to undo. I could go back to image size. I'm sorry. Image canvas size. Change that to pixels and go back up to 3,800 or whatever it was. Hit OK. Kind of back to where we were. Image size and canvas size.